Welcome, everyone, to the Sports Illustrated Media Podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Traina. Thanks so much for listening. We have Chris Long, former Eagle, Patriot, Ram player, now in the podcast game, doing some sports media stuff, and just a great person to have a conversation with. So we touch on football stuff and then regular life stuff. Chris is great for that, but he gives us the player perspective on what's going on with COVID and the travels and how these players are handling things. Get into some Tom Brady stuff with the Bucs, and get into some media things and why Chris isn't really ready to. He doesn't really want to go into the whole pregame show thing, and we have a lot of fun just talking about some other things with Chris Long. If you missed last week's episode, Andrew Marchand from the New York Post was on to go through some sports media news. The Undertaker from WWE was on 2 weeks ago. Jim Nance 3 weeks ago. Kirk Herbstreit on this podcast as well in recent weeks. Check those all out in the archives if you missed any of them, and subscribe to the SI Media Podcast. Let's get to this week's episode right now with Chris Long. All right, joining me now, SI Media Podcast regular, one of the best out there from the Greenlight Pod, great podcast host himself, Chris Long. How's it going?
What up, dude? Yeah, I mean, thanks for the plug. Just trying to be like you, dude.
Yeah, right. Full disclosure, we're taping this at 6 o'clock on Wednesday, so we're watching the tail end here of the Steelers-Ravens game, and I know I have some interest in the Steelers.
Cover City.
10, and we just got a touchdown there, so there we go.
Did get a touchdown.
Did you have anything on the Seahawk-Eagle game on Monday night?
I had the under.
Okay.
Yeah, I had the under. And today, it's funny when I tease stuff, people call me a tease god, Jimmy, because I actually win the teasers sometimes.
Tease god.
So when I tease stuff, people will be like, well, you should have just took the other side. No, that's not necessarily true.
Right.
I had a bad feeling about the Steelers blowing these guys out. It was either going to be close or an absolute blowout. And I was thinking chances are probably a little closer. So I teased it down to 5 and under 48.5. I'm sitting pretty.
I don't want you to be a snitch, but I'm fat. You're not allowed to bet, obviously, when you're a player. Would you bet other sport? Like if you're an NFL player, can you bet on the NBA finals, for instance?
Yeah. If you're in Vegas, you can lay bets on other sports.
Just got to stay away from the NFL. And if you can't,
then I'm in trouble, and they're going to take away all my honors that I've.
So the day you retired, then you were able to bet the NFL.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, that thought, it's not even for me to say it never crossed my mind. It would have had to cross my mind and me push it out quickly. Like it's insufficient to say it never crossed my mind. Like it's not even a thought in NFL locker rooms, unless guys are doing it just in the deepest, darkest alleys. I would be interested, if they peeled the curtain back one day to find out if anybody is doing it, at any given time.
It's so easy, though, with online. That's the thing.
Didn't somebody get popped for that a couple years ago? A Cardinal or something? A Cardinals player?
There was a baseball player.
No, NFL Cardinal player.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I think he was Pete Rose style. He was betting on the Cardinals, maybe.
Yeah. It sounds familiar.
He bet against his team when he was hurt. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, it sounds familiar. I remember there was a Tampa Bay Rays pitcher. I don't know if it was a pitcher, but a Tampa Rays player was definitely busted.
Cardinals NFL player gambling. Yep. Josh Shaw, 2019.
Not
that long ago.
Yeah.
Pre-pandemic, year of our Lord, 2019. Indefinite suspension, betting on NFL games multiple occasions.
Yep, my producer Shelby's telling Josh Shaw. And so wait, that was 2019, so that was recent.
It was very recent. I thought a couple years ago, but this has felt like a couple.
Yeah.
In its own right.
I don't know if I got into this once a long time ago with you. It might have been with Connor Barwin. I forgot, but I remember asking if players are aware of point spreads when they're playing. And I was told no. What's your...
Generally no, but if you're playing the underdog role, and most guys on teams don't even understand how gambling works, because I'll try to bet a buddy about his alma mater.
Right.
And I'll walk up and look for guys that don't know that Vegas even exists. So I'll be find a guy who I can make the spread work to my advantage and just ignore the spread and see if, hey, you like Michigan State? I like Michigan. And I might be favored if I take the Michigan side by a touchdown, but he doesn't know how points work, so he'll just take Michigan State straight out. So I look for those guys.
I like how you try to make it sound on the up and up, and you say, I look for guys who don't know about the point. You're looking to bamboozle guys is what you're doing.
Well, I mean, that's their business, man. Hey, listen. Listen, if I walk up, and you know who would make the work, like you just walk up to a guy who just did not know what a point spread was, or you might play with the spread a little bit. You'd be like, you negotiate the spread down.
Right.
You know, and this is all college. So,
yeah. Help me out here getting inside the mind of a player with what's going on here with the scheduling. The players always like to just act like it's business as usual. When they have a game, they're going to play a game. But how can players not be affected by what's going on here? And how much of an effect, even if it's just the testing, having teammates maybe who are positive or opponents who are positive, what do you think the mental weight of all this is on the players?
I think it's a lot. I think, thank goodness you can see your family, if you're doing this right now. I think it's going to be interesting for a team like San Francisco who has to go stay in Arizona. That's a whole different kind of strain with the recent Santa Clara guidelines. I got to tell you, these guys love football, man.
Right.
You have to absolutely love this game, especially if you're playing for a bad team.
Right.
I told you I had thoughts before of being like, could I still play? Would I still play? And they were still lingering coming into the season. Empty stadiums, that thought alone, you know what I mean? So it's tough. The masks, just being in the facility all day, and it's the right thing, but having to wear a mask nonstop, it's easy to let your guard down around your teammates because naturally you're thinking, I'm out on the field nonstop with these guys. I'm like running into these guys. So It's a weird situation. And then today, if you're playing in Baltimore's situation, I mean, I heard Tirico say, I didn't see much of this game, but I heard Tirico say musculoskeletal, which he was referring to worrying about soft tissue injuries.
Right.
Like, you're paranoid about that anyways as a player. Mm-hmm. Imagine not being able to practice, get loose, go to the facility, the testing. Guys, I remember Detroit, New Orleans were playing. New Orleans guys were up at 3-4 in the mornings because somebody had a false positive and they weren't sure if they were going to play the game or not. How about college football players not getting paid?
Well, this is what's fascinating to me about this is that so much of the focus is on the NFL because the NFL dominates America and basically, we're all whores to the NFL.
Yeah.
College football this year is the biggest disaster I've ever seen from a sports league in my life. Like, it's amazing how insane it is.
Yeah, it's a debacle, man, and it's just like every single weekend there's some game that just gets canceled the last second, I feel like, and it's happening more and more. Like Virginia this weekend. Yeah. They go down to Tallahassee and they're getting ready to play. They're waking up to play. And next thing you know, they figure out that FSU has another issue with COVID. It's a couple weeks in a row.
Right.
Think about the investment that colleges are making into that trip. Like, I think a lot of times people would think it's just about the hotel. Like, you charter a flight, your buses, the hotels, all that stuff, and you do it for nothing. And these programs, a lot of them are definitely working money around and playing to keep the lights on. Some of them, not Virginia, but it's a conundrum.
Well, I don't want to get into a whole COVID and what's right, what's wrong, et cetera, a whole thing about that. But
we're all watching it.
The one thing though that I thought was so ridiculous from the get-go, and Trevor Lawrence put it out there, and it was backed by other people, and about how they were demanding to play because they felt like they'd be safer on campus than at home. Who that was the biggest bunch of bullshit I've ever heard in my life. Who deemed that the campus was safe? College kids are not safe no matter where they are. No. You think you're invincible when you're in college. You think you can do whatever you want. Rules don't apply to you. That's whether you're home, on campus, or wherever it is. And of course, you're going to be more, if you're on campus with all your friends, instead of at home with nobody, you're going to be, the campus is, of course, more dangerous. I never understood that.
So The only validity I think there is to you're in a better place on campus in your life. If a lot of these kids, that's the only thing I'm buying. Like for sure, a lot of kids come from really rural areas,
Right.
where listen, Charlottesville. To think about the way the dynamic works, in Virginia, Charlottesville's actually been amazing with the numbers, keeping them down relative to some other spots in the state. But kids coming back in and out of town is like, for a resident, you're like, okay, we got to be even more careful now, because like this is when Christmas break ends, or this is when Thanksgiving ends. Like Charlottesville, when it empties out, is not, it's tens of thousands of people, when the students are gone, right? Charlottesville proper. So consider living in a place like that where I live, and then the population doubles in a weekend.
Yeah.
So that's the type of stuff you're dealing with, thinking about populating campuses and like considering it safer for a college athlete to be in a place like that than in their rural hometown. So I guess it depends on how each campus is run and how big the school is. But generally, I would say, no, it's not safer.
Yeah. I mentioned the green light pod at the beginning. So just talk media here for a little bit. You're also doing the Amazon Prime pregame on Thursday nights. Now, tomorrow there's no Thursday night game, correct?
Yeah.
So you get a nice week off. You got to like that.
Well, we do the show on Tuesday, and I couldn't even explain to you exactly how they do it. They just they it's like live to tape or whatever they say. I just try not to screw up, and it goes out. And I'm on there with Kay Adams, James Coe, Andrew Hawkins, who's great, and we have fun, man. And it's hard remote, man, but like you start to figure out the pauses, like the delays,
right?
It's obviously going to be less back and forth, because I think when people watch TV, you get numb to the fact that if you could watch TV your whole life, you watch CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, if that's pick your poison. Okay. That's certainly poison.
I'm not going to take the bait. Just keep going.
You could watch any of your favorite news channel. You could watch ESPN, and you don't notice, like you become numb to the delays that you see in interviews all the time. But until you're on the other end of it and you're doing all your media work remotely, you don't realize how much of it's a juggling act. It's like you take that into account. You have to be cognizant of it. The remote stuff's cool, except for the delay, because it does hold you back a little bit.
Yeah. I've hounded you about this off podcasts when we talk. Obviously your dad, Howie, been at Fox forever, pregame legend.
Yeah.
Your brother Kyle's now doing the CBS pregame show.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that traditional TV stuff, huh?
I mean, listen, I think a lot of times we make the mistake as media members, and players do this, former players. You make the mistake of thinking, I'm seeing it on TV, it's easy. Because that's what we all do, right? Like, I've always said this about, like, take the Monday night job. I think it's the biggest Trojan horse in sports media. You're going to make a fuck ton of money, right? But what happens when people turn on you, or they get tired of you, or you bomb?
Right.
Well, it's the top floor, it's the penthouse, but then you got to keep being yourself. If you lose that job, what are you going to do? You'll always be the guy that people didn't like on Monday night.
Right.
Now, people overcome it, but like, it looks like the greatest opportunity in sports, and maybe it is. But if I don't have an end of the road that looks attractive to me, then I'd rather not do it and pour my heart and soul into it. You know what I mean? Like, also, I don't like wearing suits. I like my weekends. I like to drink beer and watch the games. I'd have to travel, be away from my kids. I love the podcast stuff, man. I really do.
Yeah. Well, you're good at it too, and you're able to get good guests. Yeah, but with the Amazon, you don't have to put the suit on, even if we didn't have COVID and you went to the studio. They let you be casual there, so that's good. And
it was in Philly last fall.
Yeah.
So that was big for me. I get to just go up to Philly, stay at the same hotel that my parents would stay at when they came into town, Rittenhouse down there, and I love downtown Philly. So just to go up there for a night, every night in the fall, I was like, this didn't even work. I mean, except for being away from my family. And Kay is great, James is great, and at that time it was just us three and a recurring guest, or rotating guest. It's Jason's awesome. We got to shout out Jason. So good crew over there.
If a network came to you and said, Chris, we really want you. You don't have to wear a suit, and we'll get you in and out as soon as the show starts, as soon as the show ends. Would you, and you had to maybe make a decision, and they said to you, you can do the games or you could do a pregame show. What do you think you would choose?
Ooh, pregame show.
Because your brother Kyle's doing the pregame. So I don't know if you watch it. Yeah, he's good at it. It's a good show.
He's great at it, man. Like I'm not I don't know, like pregame show wise, you never say never, but that's just not what would excite. I think the challenge of being a color analyst would excite me. Like the challenge, it would push me in ways that I don't get pushed. And like one of the hardest things about retirement is being like, how much do I want to get pushed? How much do I just want to be busy? And I feel like I'm pushed all week doing the pod. Would I have the bandwidth to do two things and learn a new skill? Because I don't take anything lightly. So I wouldn't just be like, oh, I'm just happy to be in the booth. I'd want to be great at it.
Right.
And I'd have to learn some back end stuff that I'm not as good as other guys on. Like every quarterback who gets into the business knows the back end in and out. They start floundering when they talk about linemen. But most people are ball watchers, right? Most people watch the ball. They follow the ball. I shouldn't have said ball watchers, ball followers.
Yeah.
Okay. Most people follow the ball. I watch the ball, but I'm watching up front to the back. And the way a lot of those people that get those jobs, they're watching from the other end up. Like Tony Romo, right? Tony Romo, when he's brilliant, but it would sound like me speaking a little bit of another language. We're talking about linemen, and he knows that. And these guys are smart. Like they lay out of it and they talk around it. I wouldn't be able to do that on a daily basis, talking about back end stuff. So I would have a ways to go, but it would be an exciting challenge. I never say never.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pod for a little. Green Light Pod. You work really hard at it. I know that. And it's impressive.
Well, if it stays a secret, then when it sucks, people don't think, man, he worked really hard for that bullshit.
No, you work hard at it. I know you care about it a lot. It's out 3 days a week.
Yeah. So we're doing.
That's a lot. That's a lot for a pod.
Well, it's actually easier than two in the fall.
Yeah.
And that sounds counterintuitive, but we did Tuesday morning and Fridays. But the problem was I never felt like I had a break because of spacing. So I moved it to Monday morning release, which means I'm up real late on Sunday night.
Yeah,
I do a Wednesday bullshit kind of pod. Not a bullshit pod, but like I can just talk about whatever. Friday's more the same thing. It's me and Mark Sanchez. I love having Squanch on. That's what we call him. He's the best. Just a great dude, knows football. Again, Jim, knowing my weaknesses, I get Mark on. He watches the game from the back end to the front. I watch it from the front end to back. So it's like a nice marriage. And I got my co-host Macon, who's awesome. I'd have him every day, but he's a real estate agent. So my co-host is a fucking real estate agent. So like literally I'll be trying to be like, can we do a pod here? He's like, oh, I have a showing at this time and this time. And so
I have to say, I don't know if this is because I'm in New York and when Sanchez was in New York, there were, more things about his off the field stuff than on the field, but I never would have expected Sanchez to get into the media game, but he's doing a ton of stuff and he's pretty good at it. He does the college for ABC. Yeah. He's got a pod and he's pretty good at it. I got to say, and I never would have expected that from him.
You know what? I don't know if I thought about it with him. I thought he'd be doing like cologne commercials exclusively.
Right.
Aqua de Joe. Who's doing Aqua de Joe? Who locked that shit down?
I don't know, but
did Brady lock that shit down?
Brady's busy with TV 12.
Brady's Stetson. I want to be. Hey, you know what I want to be? We'll get back to Sanchez.
But you know
what I want to be, Jimmy, and maybe we can get this out there. I would do I'll be the CVS brand cologne person. Hey, you don't want to spend too much money. You don't have the budget to get Tom Brady.
It's like the
JJ Watt.
That's the gift you get when you're scrambling to get a Christmas gift on Christmas Eve at 4 or 5 in the afternoon. The CVS cologne. That's like the Christmas gift.
But you still have to go get the lady from the front to get the little tiny key.
Oh yeah, they got that. Well,
it's a brick of gold back there, and it's just fucking curved.
How about they do that with the razors? The razors you can't get near.
Oh, please! And that's half the reason I stopped shaving. Other than the fact I always feel like if I have a beard. You ever think about growing a beard, Jim?
I had one once. Here's the thing. I shaved today. I can't I'm a big baby and I can't take the itching. My thing, COVID has destroyed me because I used to go get a hot towel shave every Saturday.
Like all the mobsters.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Every Saturday, hot towel shave. Then Corona came, and now I have to shave myself. And I hate shaving with a burning passion.
How do you trust the people that do that? I always wonder that.
Well, it's one person. It's not people. It's one guy who's been doing it for like 10 years.
And he has one bad day. Next thing you know,
I think he's nicked me maybe twice in 10 years.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
my throat being yeah, that's not going to happen.
Have you done a background check?
When was the last time?
Have you run a background check on the guy shaving your neck?
When was the last time you scrolled through Twitter and saw a headline that said "guy's throat slashed while getting a hot towel shave"? It just doesn't happen.
Doesn't make a lot of headlines.
No, it doesn't.
It happens all the time. It happens probably once a day in America.
No way. But it kills me. I can't get that. I got to shave myself.
It would kill you. So you need to be careful. You need to run a background check and you need to protect yourself. And I know that this whole experience of being like waited on and having somebody bring you a hot towel is like, it's romantic, but
no, but it's also the shave lasts like triple the amount of time than if you do it yourself.
I'm watching a guy named McSorley throw a ball to Des Bryant in a Ravens uniform. Like what on a Wednesday afternoon? What's going on right now?
As long as the Steelers cover, nothing else matters. Speaking of what's going on, what do you think's going on with Brady and the Bucks? Like,
I'll start with one heart. Let's start with closing the loop on the heartthrob quarterback number one, Squanch, aka Mark Sanchez. He's doing terrific. He's doing terrifically as a media member, and I never thought about it that way. But that's my guy, and he's great on the show. Tom Brady and the Bucks. I think this bye week is going to serve him really well, Jim. Like you get a bye that late. Oh shit, Bud Dupree's hurt. God, I hope he's not hurt bad. Damn it. Sorry.
See, you're the ex-football player, so you're concerned about him being hurt, and I'm just like, I need to cover the spread.
No, I know. I
try to be insensitive
too, but I don't even know if anybody. This is the problem when a defensive end gets hurt. It takes him 47 seconds to find out that he's down. Like, is he still down? Are we good? He's good. I guess he's good. I like Bud. I think this bye week's going to serve him really well. I do think that there's a lot of validity to what Romo's saying using context clues. Down in Tampa with, the motion, Tom liking to, do his homework before the snap, not doing it after the snap. And that's what makes him great, right? If a guy can see every corner of the field and what's going to be there and what's happening and where your guys are going to be and all the stuff that galaxy brain quarterbacks think about, why would you take that away from him if that's his best asset right
But
now?
my point is, shouldn't they have figured that out way before week 12?
Well, sometimes you got to play things out. Tom's never been he hasn't been in a different system for forever. And Josh, I think sometimes gets undersold as like an offensive genius. Josh McDaniels has done a great job up there and he does a great job. He continues to do a good job. They're creative. They have to win different ways all the time, but Tom always had like control over the passing game. It seemed like, so, down there, we talk about the motions. We talk about not having a good dump off option, not having backs that catch the ball like consistently. You know how you see those drops down there and you're just like, oh, come on. Yeah. James White was automatic. He was the best player on the field or the most productive player on the field in that Super Bowl that I was up there for.
And even Edelman, the Bucks don't have a guy like Edelman.
You thought it might be Scotty Miller if you're going to racially profile, but
I wasn't racially profiled. They don't have a guy. He's not.
No, I know, but I did it myself. I did it myself. I looked at Scotty Miller. Said, "See, they're going to try to make him the new Jules." Jules was so important to them. Yep. And it's funny. Mike Evans caught his 10th touchdown of the season the other day.
Yeah,
and they're saying he's the third one to ever have a season of 10 touchdowns with Brady. The other two are Randy Moss. So Brady's MO has never been just feed one receiver. He loves Gronk. He loves the running backs. And you got to be on the same page. And for him, maybe it's not worth it to have a flashy number ones if they're not on the same page. And I also think Romo kind of caped for him a little bit the other day when he landed that high throw on Mike Evans. Mike dropped the beautiful lob there, and Tom's still making great throws. Yeah. So I think what's going on with them is this bye week is going to be so important for them to get on the same page down the stretch. And as long as they don't play the Saints in the playoffs, I like their chances any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. That's the thing about it. I feel like people want to dump on Brady, but in the NFC, I'm not sold on those teams in the West. They all have some issues when it comes to.
They have lower ceilings than you think.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the deepest division. And I said the other week, that division has been such a flavor of the week division. It was, Rams in the Super Bowl, then it was San Francisco, then San Francisco, already got the injury bug, and then it was Seattle, unquestionably, right? And then there was a little period there where Seattle was playing really bad. And I think they've worked out a lot of those issues, and Arizona was now the hot team. Mm-hmm. And now LA, people were saying, is it LA? They beat the Bucks. That division, who could win the NFC West? The Dolphins. They beat 3 of those guys, and they hung with the Seahawks. That division is just unpredictable. But I do like the Seahawks. If I had to pick one team to have the highest ceiling, the only reason I wouldn't say that the Rams have an incredibly high ceiling is because of Jared Goff, and that's not to say he's a bad player. Right. It's just I don't trust him every week.
Yeah. Seahawks, Bucks, and Saints all probably fighting it out to lose to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Well, what's funny? The Packers nobody hates the Packers defense the way they just sometimes get bullied.
Yeah.
Than I do. But I just, in the playoffs, as long as they don't see a team that their entire deal is predicated on jamming it down your throat, they're safe. Like if they don't play the Niners, if they don't play, some of these teams that'll just pound you and commit to it. The Titans, they're going to play them week 16. That's not a playoff matchup,
right? But
that's a chin check for them. Yeah. That's a tailor-made game where they get their ass kicked. But if somebody asks me who's got the best chance in the NFC to go toe-to-toe with the Chiefs, it's probably Packers.
Interesting. I'd love to see a Packers-Bucks NFC title game after the Bucks killed the Packers, just to see if, they'd show up a second time.
Things are different in the playoffs, Jim,
Yeah.
Like you just never know.
Before we wrap it up, I thought it'd be fun because I feel like one thing we have in common is we have takes on everything, and we're not. And I feel like you're one of these people. What I respect is you don't just have the take to have the take and to say something outlandish. Like you believe what you're saying. So I thought I would.
Yeah, I don't try to. Because Jimmy, I don't like it when I want my pod numbers to get better, but I am incredibly uncomfortable with shit going viral.
Oh, really?
So
interesting.
It terrifies me to think about my name.
But when you did the lotto thing, you were terrified by that, or was
no? Because I'm having fun doing it.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm also maybe now a little different where I've become more antisocial.
Right.
But I love doing pranks and fun shit. But for me to get that clickbait thing these days, to be that headline, you have to be negative, or you have to do some stupid A or B comparison, and say something outlandish about a player, or you have to be really self-righteous because they're going to try to make you look like all those things anyways. Mm-hmm. I'd rather avoid that whole thing, but I know you have to do it sometimes to get more popular. I'm just not willing to do it intentionally.
I don't blame you. And no, but that's the people who don't do it intentionally, I think, are the people who have the respect and get a following and are taken seriously. The other people are known as carnival barkers, and people take it for what it's worth. But what I like is that you have a take on any topic, and it doesn't have to be you could have a straightforward take out. I'm gonna read some headlines. I was just perusing the New York Post and the Daily Mail, found some ridiculous headlines. I feel I'd read you the headline and just tell me the first thing that comes into your head. As the Steelers punt with 3.5 minutes left to give the Ravens a chance.
I know, I'm a little ahead of you. It's coming. That drop could cost some people.
We now put this video on YouTube, and people may see me cry for the first time.
But that's why I'm really safe. You should join the Tease God.
No, forget
they call it tailing. Just tail me, bro.
Teasers, I have bad luck with them. All right, I'm going to read you some headlines.
Gotta do the Wong method, bro.
What's that?
I don't quite understand it yet, but it's basically about crossing 7s and 3s, bro. I actually kind of do understand, but I'm afraid to sound like I do.
That's all horse shit. It's all luck. All right. I'm going to read you a headline, and you just say the first thing that comes into your head. If you have a question, a thought, anything about it. First headline: Drake releasing line of Drake scented candles.
I'm just. So how do they do that?
I don't know how they do it.
Somebody come to his house. What, like, do they take a pinprick? Take his
and also,
DNA?
what is the Drake odor?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Don't tell me they scored. Oh my
so
God.
Sorry. You're going to need some Drake cologne.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was going to happen. Unbelievable. It's like a 70-yard touchdown. Unbelievable. Can't make it up. This is why the ratings are high and everyone watches this sport.
Look at this.
That's a big, big touchdown for Vegas because everyone bet the Steelers. All right,
Right,
anything else on the Drake candles?
Times.
Would you ever get a candle in your house of like a scented famous person?
No, I really wouldn't. But
right.
This is to say, like, you know how people have scents?
Yeah.
Like that's not to say it smells like Drake, or is it? It's to say it smells like Drake.
Drake scented candle.
You know what? I think the world is fucked, dude. I really do. I just the worshiping that some people do of others is unhealthy for the people doing the worshiping.
I agree.
It's just unhealthy. And I'm a fanboy on some things, but like, if you really want to smell Drake, you're kind of sick. But hey, it sells, which means the world is kind of sick.
Exactly. All right, next headline. NFL star Richard Sherman is an Uggs obsessive. Very poorly worded there, but they're saying that Richard Sherman is obsessed with Uggs.
Richard Sherman's obsessed with Uggs. I'm not going to judge him. They're super comfortable, like, and also the climates.
Right here.
Sherman has played
wearing them right now.
Yeah,
I
was wearing Uggs earlier before I went barefoot. I was outside doing the Christmas lights in Uggs. So there's nothing wrong with Uggs, man, and especially in his climate, Seattle. Wear your Uggs to get a cappuccino, walk down the street, read a real newspaper.
Very versatile. Very versatile.
Yeah, and then San Francisco is a real Uggy place.
Yeah,
it's cold.
Yeah, and listen, I can't. I'm not getting paid for an endorsement, but invest the money in the Uggs. It's worth it.
Hell yeah.
All right. This one's going to be.
Richard Sherman getting paid?
I don't know. Let's see what Chris says about this one. Married guy. I don't want to get him in trouble, but I saw this headline. Figured I'd have to read it. Halle Berry hits back at claim she is bad in bed.
I mean, who's saying that? It's just, to me.
I think like some actress or celebrity, maybe a B or C list celebrity had said she had heard that Halle Berry was bad in bed, and then Halle Berry had a tweet like, "Ask my man if that's true" or something.
Maybe the person that made that complaint is projecting.
Good. If you're Halle Berry, though, why are you addressing that? That's my question.
People don't like slander, bro. Yeah. You know what I mean? Slander, but listen, you could say some true shit about me and I will not, but people don't like slander. Right. Like, people don't like being like lied on. And that would be tough, because the hard thing is, it's not like reviews are coming in left and right for things like that for celebrities. So if there's only one, and you got to speak on it.
There's no Yelp page for that. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Office? Are you an Office fan?
I like The Office, but I'm always intimidated. Well, I love The Office to be.
But have you seen most of the episodes?
Goodness.
What happened now?
Look at what happened.
Chris is ahead of me. Don't tell me they picked it.
No, nothing. We're good, but the fumble.
But you've seen most of the episodes, right?
Of The Office, yeah.
Okay, so then I'm going to throw this.
I'm intimidated by you Office heads, though, because you guys know everything.
This is just a headline I saw. I figured I'd get your take on it. The writers of The Office briefly floated the idea of killing off Meredith when Michael Scott hit her with his car.
That would have been so good.
That's what I think it would have been good too.
What
was that?
What season was that?
It was either 4 or 5. I think it was 4 or 5.
I thought Meredith was a great. There was just so many jokes that played off.
Yeah.
Like I thought she was great. I thought she was really important, but the sheer ridiculousness of her dying
right. I think it would have been great.
Michael Scott.
Yeah, I'm into dark humor, so I think there could have been so many funny. Yeah.
Listen, the funeral in Eastbound and Down is one of the funniest scenes in any. I'm watching it tonight. Ashley Schaefer.
I'll give you the funniest funeral scene. I don't know if it's a funeral scene, but you can say death scene, funeral scene. Is Curb, Beloved Aunt.
Run me back that one.
Oh, I don't even know. I probably can't. I mean, I curse on here, but I don't think I could drop the C word. Larry had to put
because I've probably seen it, but it's one of those things.
In the announcement, no, it was on the. Was it on the stone? On the stone, instead of Beloved Aunt, it was Beloved C word. The A and C got mixed up.
Yes, but hold on, because I've seen this, but I can't joke with you on it. I'm not like that good at it.
All right,
I'd have to get one of the side jokes in there. You know how there's like 4 jokes in the whole.
You have to watch that episode again if you haven't seen it.
Let me see.
If you don't remember it,
I'm pulling up the YouTube.
Oh yeah, you gotta yeah.
Let's do this obituary thing, okay?
Can we play this on the podcast? I'll probably get in trouble, so you better not play it. Rights.
I saw a really good one recently, but I'm already forgetting what it was about. Because the problem is, like, I'll watch them, I'll binge them when I'm drunk or I'm stoned, like at 2 a.m.
Right.
And then you're like, I was kind of hazy, but I know that was a good one.
Listen, Curb is good at any time, no matter what condition you're in. That's just
Airplane. Like, I kind of have a little flight anxiety.
Right.
If I can get Curb on an airplane, it's better than I would imagine some people feel on a benzo on a plane.
Yeah. That's a perfect plane show. Have there been any headlines you've seen in the last few days that have stuck with you that you want to maybe bring up?
Let's see. I'm going to pull one up. Oh, the monolith, man.
I saw everyone going crazy about that, but I didn't really follow along with it. You're into that though.
Well, I'm kind of, there's just some things about it that are curious to me. Did you hear about the guys breaking it down?
So why did they do that?
Well, there's no way they're the people that put it up, because they just weren't moving like people that I would be. Because whoever put that up, like a mysterious government agency, like aliens, like
right,
they move differently than the account of the people that broke that down. Those guys like rolled up in the evening. It's become like a tourist, attraction. And those dudes just roll up and put the fucking thing in a wheelbarrow. And as they're wheeling off, they tell this guy, leave no trace. Like, that's out of a movie. And you happen to tell a guy with like 100,000 followers is like some Instagram photographer.
Right.
So like, ironically, no, you did leave a trace. And I don't know what happened. Jim, I wanted to do a copycat monolith. I wanted to do one in Virginia, and my dad thought it was a great idea.
Oh, really? You got Howie in on this now?
No, well, Howie was like, here, I got a good welder. I'm like, you know what? I don't think it's a good idea. I'm not comfortable with this thing going viral and somebody, I don't know, coming up to see it and it falling on somebody. I don't know.
I think the biggest thing we've learned during this podcast is that Chris Long does not want to go viral.
That is one of them. It's a weird thing, because I definitely want my pod to be fucking awesome and super popular. But if nobody would talk about it, that'd be awesome. And if everybody would just listen to it, that would be great.
If you could book anyone on your pod next week, who would you book?
Willie Nelson.
You have some relationship with him, no?
No.
I thought you.
I got my Spotify back today.
Right. Everyone's doing that.
Yeah, I know. So did you do it?
No, I don't have Spotify. I'm old.
So I was My Morning Jacket, Willie Nelson, Grateful Dead, which I don't even like the Dead like everybody else does. I like the Dead, but I'm not a Deadhead.
I'm just impressed with myself that I know all three of the people you've mentioned so far. Keep going.
And then the first guy, Neil Young. I had a big Neil Young year. Neil would be up there, but that would be intimidating.
I saw that the most listened to artist was Bad Bunny, and I couldn't tell you one Bad Bunny song, verse, lyric. If he fell on me, I wouldn't know who he was.
Dude, I'm totally out of touch. I see things trending on a regular basis that I have no idea who the people that are being discussed are.
I'd be terrified to put my Spotify like wrapped up thing online because everyone would just be like, "What the?" Like you're stuck in 1984. Like it would be Bon Jovi and Aerosmith
so you're just doing that stuff.
Yeah, so like it's not good for me.
Oh, I think my music's cool.
No, I mean, I know all those people at least. I'm seeing people put their wrapped 2020 wrapped out, and I'm like, I don't know any of these artists. So.
Oh yeah, we're getting old, dude.
It's not fun.
Here we go. You could cover
3rd and 1 here. No, I can't cover. The Ravens have no timeout. I mean, yeah,
I'm joking.
Look at this.
I'm saying betting tackle.
Here are the two things.
Over in the Chargers game this weekend.
Oh yeah, so did I. The two things to take away.
You suffered through that.
This is the podcast wrap up. Check out Chris on Amazon Prime Thursday nights before the Thursday night game. Check out his Greenlight podcast. Don't let him go viral. And betting is really just one of the worst things that's ever been invented.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, it's really bad. I mean, the Steelers are not covering this game.
Well, right, Chris, you teased them. All right, everybody out there.
Oh yeah,
get on your teasers.
Tease God, is that what it is?
Tease God is signing off.
All right, thanks, Tease God. Appreciate
it. Jim.
Take care. That wraps up this episode of the SI Media Podcast. My thanks to Chris Long, always a great person to have a conversation with, and one of the good guys out there, and making that transition from player to sports media. He's doing a great job. So check out his pod. If you missed any recent episodes of the SI Media Podcast, Andrew Marchand from the New York Post covers sports media, was on last week to go through a bunch of topics. The Undertaker, WWE legend, 2 weeks ago. Jim Nance, Kirk Street on in recent weeks as well. Check those out in the archives and subscribe. And you can also rate and review, which helps tremendously. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week right here on the SI Media Podcast. Take care.